What I'd like to do first is just get everyone to introduce themselves and their business for those people in the room that don't know you. So I'm going to start. Oh, you've got the microphone. Go for it, Jason.
Only because Caroline passed it to me. She didn't want to go first. Morning all. Jason Cotta. I'm the Group CEO of Arcturus Group, which is the holding group for Rosa's Thai, Pho and Mowgli. So three pretty amazing Asian brands, differentiated in the market and all that good stuff. But I've been there about a year now, and prior to that, a lifetime in hospitality and food service and whatever you want for another.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Ottoy, and I am the Managing Director of WatchHouse. There is one literally just down there, and another one around the corner. For those of you that don't know, we are a specialty coffee brand. We are a global business now, so we have locations in New York, and we've just opened our first franchise in Dubai, mainly London-based, with our own roastery. That we don't wholesale, we roast for our own houses, and we also have our own bakery, so which is in Bermondsey. So, and I've been in hospitality for about 30 years really, but 3 years with WatchHouse.
Morning all. As Joe says, welcome to Roxy. So I am the Commercial Director for Professionals of Play. We are the operator behind Roxy Leisure, Roxy Lanes, Roxy Ballroom, Kingpins and Starpins. We've just opened our 27th site after Christmas, and I've been around since day one, so that's why I get rolled out to talk, because I can remember day one. 13 years we've been going now in competitive socialising, which back in the day we called it gaming. It's obviously evolved quite a lot. So I look after all the commercials across the group and make sure I'm involved in new openings and stuff. And again, been around hospitality for quite a long time, but been doing this for quite a long time as well.
Right, keep hold of the microphone so you can answer the first question. So 3 very different businesses here, which is great. And obviously, Simon, you touched on coffee as being a big player for this year, which I'm sure Caroline was delighted to hear.
Positivity, let's go.
Let's just start with your business. Comstock obviously has had a bit of not a bit of a resurgence. It's been constantly evolving over the last few years, and particularly the last sort of 3 or 4 years probably. Your business is growing, but what opportunities do you see in Comstock, your business, over this coming year?
So I don't think about Comstock like that, because when I started it, we just wanted to put ping pong tables and pool tables in bars. We wasn't trying to emulate a competitive socialising scenario. We just liked games, we just wanted to play games, and we've not changed. We still just want to play games. So in our office we have games, and loads of them. We know how to play the games, we like the games. There's some games we don't use because we don't like them. And there's other games that we do use because we do like them. So our journey in that has not really changed, and we've just grown with the market, which is to say customer demand, size, scale, the businesses have grown with it, the territories have grown with it. But I think it's the same. I think for all hospitality, whatever you do, that experimental thing, that new thing, whether it be a new menu, whether it be a new idea, whether it be a new restaurant, whether it be a new coffee shop, whatever it is, it's new, isn't it? And that's what people find exciting. And now more than ever, I think people just want new stuff all the time. My kids included, they're a nightmare. But that's what we want. So for us, going into the next year, we've got a great rollout plan for this year. Dead excited, albeit a little bit too ambitious, if I'm honest, because that's just the way the business works. And that's just, again, because we're excited about what we're doing. We go international this year, which is exciting for us. Which is pretty cool, from everything, it's exciting for us to involve. So we're just going to go at it again with some new ideas, some new games, some new exciting stuff that we can get into, and keep it all on experimenting.
And is it just about new games, or are you constantly evolving things like your F&B? Because obviously that's a core part of your business as well. So how do you see that changing, if at all, over this coming year?
Similar to a lot of people, when we came into... When we did pub restaurants, and we've still got a pub group in Yorkshire as well, but F&B has changed for us dramatically over the year because the costs have just gone crazy. Whether it's cost of delivering it, whether it's cost of food, whether it's the idea that you do it. But our F&B has enhanced within Roxy and Kingpins simply because I think we've doubled down, we've focused on it, focused on the quality of what we do, the price of what we do. Again, we enjoy it. We don't try and be something we're not, which I think is probably important. We don't sell Thai food, we're not going to sell Thai food, no intention of. We're not going to jump on a trend and start selling what someone else does. We love doing pizza, we like doing Italian food. We like doing good cocktails, frozen drinks. We like people that drink. You know, we like the no and low stuff. That's great. We sell loads of that stuff, but we really like a good Saturday night out. So that sort of thing. We double down on what we know, and from an F&B point of view, this year, more innovative cocktails. We do 12 different beers behind the bar. We like it. We'll change it. The food menu will go a little bit more QSR, simply down to choice and speed of service. Everybody just wants things so fast. You know, they're just not willing to wait. And again, in our Kingpin sites, driven by kids, you know, like they're like, come on, if Wingstop can do it in 7 minutes, why can't you?
Caroline, same for you. What do you see happening in your business and wider this year?
I think actually it's interesting hearing Simon talk, because everything he said resonates with the opportunities that I see for us as a coffee brand, but also for hospitality. So what I'm hearing around the narrative, everything is about experiences and how we're making people feel, and I think that's probably the same with you and all our hospitality businesses. But what the opportunity that I see is really leaning into that. So quality is no longer a differentiator. It has to be about experience, how you're elevating, how you're evolving those experiences. So we at WatchHouse are obviously really leaning into that, and we talk about value, premiumisation, and perhaps the middle being scooped out. So we're, an example that I'll give you is that two and a half years ago we launched a rare coffee menu. And we launched it in our flagship location in Mayfair in Hanover, and it was basically it's some of the rarest coffees in the world, and you can pay up to sort of £45-50 just for a cup of coffee. And obviously that's not, you know, our main customer is our flat white customer, and they're coming in, and that's our most popular drink. And what we saw was how popular this was becoming. So we thought, well, let's maybe roll this out across all locations. So we rolled it out across the whole estate, and it just became more and more popular. And then we started pushing the boundaries. So we said, right, could we launch? I think our most expensive coffee on the rare menu was maybe £30 a cup. So we said, could we launch a coffee that was the rarest coffee in the world, and it'd be £55 a cup? And actually we did, and then we talked about zeitgeist, and we saw people literally flying from Paris for a day to try that coffee in our Fitzrovia location. So, I mean, it blew my mind as much as anyone else, and we sold out. We launched it in New York, and it was like $60 a cup. It sold out. And that is, you know, and then again, what's happened last summer, ice drinks, we all know, ice drinks is just a growing trend. Again, that's something that just is going to continue on into this year. So what we did was we were finding that guests were coming in and saying, okay, I want this £50 coffee iced. And obviously from our point of view, that's not a great experience, because you're not dialing in the coffee right, and they were like, I just want ice in it. We were like, oh my God, no. So what we did was we got the team, like the amazing barista and coffee team, just created a special recipe for iced rarities. So we launched iced rarities last year as well, and again, it's just gone crazy. And obviously, since we've launched in Dubai, that's just been incredible. That's been really well received, and obviously in New York. So I think, just to summarise, just elevating experiences, being, you know, what's your core focus? Our core focus is evolving, elevating experiences. What's your niche? Our niche is modern coffee. Lean into that. And I think, you know, being honest and vulnerable and open. I suppose I've come into this year, and I think towards the end of we're in our Q2 now, but sort of towards the end of this quarter, I think we started to lose a bit of focus, and we started, you know, everyone was going, well, we should be doing this, sorry, am I talking too much? I'm getting quite, you know, doing this like frothy strawberry matcha, like Blank Street are great, by the way. Like what Blank Street are doing is incredible, and they're creating these amazing, just, you know, bars just specifically for these ice drinks, and it's incredible. But we shouldn't follow that. We should lean into what is true to us, and actually what we do well, and what our core focus is. And we did start to lose that a bit. And actually, I said to the team, guys, what are we doing? Actually, you know, we need to go back to basics. And I think I've heard that. Yeah. In the presentation today, and I literally came in, we had a senior leadership meeting on Tuesday, and I was like, back to basics, guys. I'm stopping this. I don't want to do any of this. We're leaning into innovation through our innovation, and that's best-in-class quality product, ice rarities, tech. I'll talk a bit about, you know, how we've used AI afterwards when that's relevant. But yeah, so core focus, elevating experiences is what I think the opportunity is.
Brilliant, thank you, Jason. Three fantastic casual dining brands. Obviously, Simon alluded to, you know, casual may be more of a challenge this year. How are you seeing it for your three brands this year?
So Simon came and spoke to my team, my leadership team last year, just as we founded Arcturus Group. So Simon came along and spent a half a day with us and talked about exactly this point. And he said that in fairness he is consistent, because he told us the same thing last year too. Obviously it's better this year, clearly, but absolutely. There's a consistent message here that, and I think it runs really different to either of you. So I think that, you know, I've never worked in a cutting edge business in my life. I've always worked in the mainstream, and I think that, you know, and I love my 3 businesses now, but they are mainstream. They are casual dining, upper mid if you want, and yes, from time to time we'll come out with something wacky that we might do, but mostly we're not going to do that because that's not what we do. But I think that the thing that keeps coming through for me, actually, no, before I get to that, is I am really confident and optimistic about 2026. Yeah. I love what I do. I do it in 3 brands that I love. I'm very confident and optimistic about the year. We'll have a great year. Subject to. And it's Simon's point about value is that, and I keep making this point wherever I get the opportunity, is that we as an industry, a business, my businesses, your businesses, are about 30% more expensive today than we were in 2019. Give or take. And if I think about the decade that went before, we put prices up by 2%, 2.5% a year, max. And in the last 5 years, we've put them up by between 4 and 6 and 8% a year, year after year after year. And in the casual dining space, I don't think we are 30% better than we were in 2019. What is it we're offering the guest that is 30% more than 2019? Because very few people are. And look, we all understand why we have to charge the prices we charge. We can't make money unless we charge those prices. But for the consumer, I don't think their perception of what we're doing has changed very much. I just think we're charging a lot more for it. And so I think it plays into all 3 of the speakers before this, is that the way we have to create value is, I think, you know, we all do discounting, we all do promotions and all the rest of it. But let's face it, that's just giving away a bit of the margin that you needed. There's no 2 ways about it. Yeah, you might get a bit of incrementality, but ultimately, you charge the price you charge because that's the price you need to charge to make money selling that thing. So as soon as you don't charge that price, then you aren't making as much money, and the whole thing is not self-reinforcing. So I think to the experience point that's run through today as well, I think it's about our ability to create experience and to ensure that we're worth the price we're charging. And I think so often we're not. And I was in just a very quick anecdote. I was in Canterbury this weekend, Saturday night. It was a friend's 50th birthday, and me and my husband popped out for dinner beforehand. Just regular restaurant in Canterbury. It was an independent steak restaurant, and we went in. We had like 2 tapas kind of starters, 2 steaks. We weren't drinking. Dry January. In fairness, no, I've fallen off the wagon already. Sorry. But he's still going. My husband's still going, so that's all right. Yeah. One of us is doing it. Anyway, 2 small starters, 2 steaks, soft drinks. It was £68 a head. But think about it. I mean, it's like thick end of 10 quid for an appetizer. It's over 20 for a steak. A Coke's what? How much are you charging for a Coke now, most of us? 4 or 5 quid for a Coke if you have 2. 12% service charge, because that's somehow become the norm now as well.
That's right, you get a cup of coffee for that and WatchHouse.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Anyway, my point being is that there was nothing wrong with the meal. The food was perfectly serviceable. I know they're charging the price they have to charge. They're not scalping me, because I know how much what they're selling me cost them to buy. But they just weren't nice enough to me.
I was going to say,
to be worth
£68
a head,
yeah.
And they weren't not nice, they weren't not smiley.
But it wasn't special.
They just weren't good enough for the price that you now get charged for a casual dining experience.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point, and we've heard that from the other speakers today as well. And just thinking about Lauren's presentation, so let's think a bit about AI now, and not specifically around the guest experience necessarily, but around all aspects of use of AI in your businesses. how are you harnessing the power of AI in your businesses? We'll start with you, Caroline, as you've been passed the microphone.
Okay. I do agree about this value perception though, we're seeing, just to touch on, I mean this probably relates to AI because it's the data that we're receiving, so the guest insight shows that the value perception, so obviously we track a value score, is through experience, not price. So we're seeing that related to how they feel. So if they feel it's value for money, but it's through experience, not so much through price, but which is what you're just saying, really. So we've been using AI, I'd say, for a good 12 months now. We have seen a very positive impact on our business in terms of a few different areas. So we use AI through a system called Servo, which is through CCTV. So it's all GDPR compliant. You're not looking at actual faces. But I think I think HM was talking about dashboards, etc. But we do use 125 Insights as well, which aligns with this. But what happens is we looked at availability. So for those of you who know our houses, we have a bakery counter. Obviously throughout the day, you have a breakfast offer, you have a lunch offer, and then maybe an afternoon offer. As you know, then teams are capered on waste. So there's always that fight between is their waste high? Are they curbing sales by looking at their waste? So what partly this does is it looks at our key core lines and it says, right, you must always have these never outs at breakfast, at lunch and dinner, and it obviously looks at the counter and says, right, it creates a little dashboard and says, right, you were 100% availability all these times. So we're tracking that. So what we've seen from that is obviously an increase in availability and an increase in revenue. So we spent, when we first introduced it, we did a quarter where we focused on increasing our revenue and our spend per head, and it did have an impact on that, so that's been positive. We've also looked at labour optimisation, so productivity of our team. We've started in, because we have two different concepts. We have a brunch concept, which is a full table service, so you have steps of service, and it's a way to look like you were in a restaurant, and then we have our espresso house models, which is the model that we're actually rolling out. So essentially it will track the queue, time to queue, time to order, and then time to receive your drink, and obviously how many people behind the counter, so related to that queue. So it just gives us an optimal labour, so it will say optimal, understaffed, overstaffed. So that's been really helpful for the teams to identify on this very simple dashboard their key times. And obviously what we're focusing on there is not cutting costs, we're focusing on driving sales through labour optimisation. So we're saying, guys, you haven't got enough baristas on at this time, you need to put more on. And obviously what we've seen with that, again, is impact on our top line. And again, what we're doing is talking about guest experience. We are looking at engagement, guest engagement, so we can track now the time that the barista engages with the guests. So what we're finding is perhaps we want our guests to have the same experience. So we have quite a elevated dining experience with entrees, with a card. Obviously we change our coffees quite frequently, and we want the team to explain the origin of the coffee and what's gone behind making that coffee. Obviously for a takeaway experience, we want them to have a similar elevated experience. So it's about that engagement, sort of saying, oh Jason, here's your flat white, have a little chat about it. Obviously elevating that whole process. So we can track now the barista engagement. It looks how long they've engaged with that guest. So we're still evolving this, but that has definitely had a very positive impact, and we are, sorry I keep talking to you, I'm going to stop in a minute, but what we've seen from that, I think, just ultimately is we're seeing about 15% like for likes. I know that's not going to last us this year, I don't expect that. Some of that has come through price rises, but mainly through increased coffee transactions. So I'll stop for that.
Thanks, Caroline. Ben, how about, we'll go Ben next. Ben, how about you in your business? How are you utilising AI? Does it have any limitations in your business?
So I don't think it has any limitations. We've used it as we came into doing gaming as such. Everybody's seen the rise in gaming through technology. Flight Club did it amazingly when the first launch starts, and it's sort of sown throughout the industry now, where you expect a bit of tech. Like I've got a game, but what makes it extra fun? So embracing that's been brilliant, because I think that's just really modernised the way that people do a lot of things. And then within that, it's the AI that you don't really notice that influences. So when you talk about reporting and data, if you go back a few years, let's not put a date on it, a few years, it was Excel sheets. You know, you were using Excel sheets or a till system that would spit out a weekly, or you'd have to go looking for it. Whereas that data is so fast now. You know, your 6 a.m. data you get through, you can sign up to everything. You know, and then you can get a summary of it, and then you can learn about it. And we do it all, so we use tracking data throughout all the venues on Wi-Fi, our facial recognition, counting, we do insights, we do feedback forms. Every bit of data funnels into loads of different things, and I think what we've learned more recently is what to do with it. You know, sort of like capture all this data, how do you use it? So we focus on some really key things in the business that drive the business, and the first one being gaming optimization. You know, so we don't really look at food and drink covers because that's not our core business. We look at when people are using the games, and we know that on a Saturday everybody's going to be using the games because it's a busy day, and we know on a Tuesday it's going to be difficult because nobody wants to go out on a Tuesday. So this hasn't changed, but it does give us better data on those days because we understand which games people want to play on every different day, and it does change. So during the week people will play more sociable games, so they get a bit more time in, things like pool and things like that. Towards the weekend they get a bit more excited about karaoke because they're maybe going out on a few more drinks and maybe a bit more we've got a bit more appetite for it. So the AI teaches us really about the business quite a lot, and I think that is the core driver for us. And we innovate with so much stuff, and I mean I use it all the time. I think it's great how it can really polish up a presentation, or for our managers how they can use it to maybe understand a little bit more about their rotas. We use it to make sure that we're being efficient on things. So all these things did kind of exist. They just took a long time. You know, people could use an Excel sheet to understand what their productivity was or what their spend per hour was, but sometimes someone would get the formula wrong and things like that. So I just think AI has really, really boosted the opportunity for learning within the business. But I would also touch about what it doesn't do, because I think that's always a key question as well. So like the rest of the panel, and I'm sure a lot of you, I was an operations manager for many years. And I find now increasingly the importance of operations teams to be in the business and not rely on data, because that being present, being with the teams, watching the customer, watching the service, watching the floor, walking around the business, you just learn everything instantly, and it's that human interaction that really gets the engine going, backed up by great data. So you can't use the data as a driver. You've got to use it as a tool. And I've seen it used badly, where people are saying, "Oh, we should do this," and I'm like, "You're mad! Like, you need to go in your venues. Like, that's not the reality of what happens in there." Stuff like that. So I think there's some really great pros and cons. It's literally just how you use it. It sounds like these guys are using it great.
Jason, same question for you.
So I'll start where you ended. I think the importance of being in a business and actually understanding it and experiencing it is fundamental to the first point. Notwithstanding that, I think it's fundamental. I think AI is going to be fundamental to our business, but I'm not really yet seeing where it's actually getting a lot of cut through, particularly because of the level. I don't think hospitality is a very tech-forward industry. I mean, it just isn't. I mean, I think things like, I started out in supermarkets a very, very long time ago, and supermarkets have been on the cutting edge of technology since the 80s. We are still using those Excel spreadsheets. I mean, it's mad. But so I think that it's more about uptake as well as it is about the functionality of it. The place where we're currently using it, and we've currently got some trials and tests underway, is on sales forecasting and labour scheduling, which is the one that should be the most obvious for us, because for all of those, and I'm guessing it's most of us in this room, writing rotas is a miserable pastime. We all do it, we've all done it. It would be much easier if somebody else could do 90% of the work for us, and all I have to do is top and tail it. But it still requires humans. But the place where we're having quite a lot of success at the moment is with Mowgli and sales forecasting and labour scheduling. So, from a sales forecasting perspective, these tools are, ops people always think we're great at forecasting. The reality is we're all rubbish. Yeah. We only remember our good days, we don't remember our bad ones. We don't remember the days we had to do the forecast with a banging hangover, or we don't do it. We don't remember anything. We only remember our hero moments, never our bad days. And a system to do it for you never forgets. So, we've got currently a sort of shadow trial running in Mowgli, and at the moment the forecasting tool is couple of days last week, it got to within a pound of what we actually took. You know, and it's using however much data it's scraping to do it now, but yeah, on a restaurant basis, on a shift basis, to within a pound of what we actually took that day. So the level of accuracy, once you've given it time to learn and become better, is off the chart. So I think it's coming, but I think our ability as an industry to embrace tech is not great. So we're really going to have to lean into this one to make it actually deliver value.
Brilliant. Katie, how are we doing for time? Nearly?
I mean,
Yeah, we'll keep going. We'll keep going.